everyone, my name is Angela Petrilli. I am here with my friends from Guitar Center with the Gibson Les Paul Studio Figured Guitar. Listening to rock and roll as a kid, the reason why I picked up a Les Paul is that so many of my heroes play one. Jimmy Page, Warren Haynes. These guitars are so iconic and fierce and just encapsulate the spirit of rock and roll. And in my playing, you want a guitar like that in your arsenal. This Les Paul Studio Figured Guitar, it's got a really unique character just from picking it up. Very intuitive neck. The slim taper is very, very comfortable when you're playing chunky chords up towards the headstock, and then when you're playing lead lines towards the 12th, 13th, and 14th frets. Again, if the neck isn't comfortable, you're not gonna be inspired to play, and this is a very inspiring guitar, at least for me. Grabbing the instrument, the neck is super comfortable. You can get right to playing. Pretty cool stuff. What's really great about this Studio Les Paul is the figured top. 'Cause usually they kept things pretty basic on the Studios, but with this one, we have the AA figured top here, which really pops out quite nicely. And again, with the gradation of the sunburst, looks pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit about what I'm going through here. So as far as the Marshall, it's a JTM 45. And then I've just got a touch of delay with my Strymon El Capistan. So we're gonna start off with the neck position here with the Burstbucker Pro pickup. Got it in the neck position. I'm going through the Marshall with just a touch of delay. So looking for the quintessential sound of a Les Paul, we want something that's full, yet something that's very bright and that's going to cut through. With playing some open chords like I just did there, we get a really full-bodied sound from this pickup. Again, thinking about when we're playing in bands, right? Especially with playing rhythm and really sitting into that foundational role. We want something that's gonna sparkle, but yet is gonna be really robust and very rounded through. So I've got the Burstbucker Pro still in the neck position. I'm gonna give it just a little bit of dirt with my Prince of Tone Analog Man Overdrive. So with the neck position with the Burstbucker Pro in just a touch of overdrive, right? And a touch of dirt. What we get here is something that's very talky, and the roundedness of it, right? Kind of has this beautiful kind of fuzzy tone almost that sounds really, really cool. A great feature that this guitar has is coil tapping. So what exactly is coil tapping? Let's first look at what a pickup is. So a pickup is made from a magnet and a wire that is wound around it. So with coil tapping, we wind a pickup a certain amount of times, okay? And many players like a certain amount of rotation, say 3,000 times or 5,000 times it's wrapped around this magnet. So with coil tapping, what we do here is you essentially have two pickups in one, meaning that you can choose 3,000 rotations, let's say. And once you get to that 3,000th rotation, you tap it and you get another wire, okay? What then happens is you keep going. So say another 2,000 or maybe 3,000 more rotations. And then once you get to 5,000 or 6,000 rotations, you would tap it again and then a wire would go out. From there, it would go to a switch, and you can choose between the sound of a pickup that has been wound 3,000 times versus a pickup that has been wound 5,000 or 6,000 times. So you have 2 pickups in one, and this Burstbucker Pro has that. So now we're gonna start with a coil tap pickup. I'm gonna pull on this. I'm gonna do one clean, and I'm gonna do one with a little bit of overdrive. Here it is, with just a bit of dirt, coil tapped. Now what I'll do here, so I'll bring it back down. We're gonna do that same line so we can A-B this. And here it is with a little dirt. So that lower vintagey sound that we just heard, so that's the coil tap. And why would you like to use coil tap in a guitar? It gives you options as a player. You want something with more output, something that's gonna bite, really cut through in a modern way. And you want something that's maybe a little bit more vintage, a little more smooth, right? So it's really neat to have these options. And again, they make it really easy. You just pop it up and you're done and you're ready to go. And you have this versatility of tone with a really great, easy to play instrument. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at the bridge position. I'm gonna bring this down. This is also a Burstbucker Pro. So let's hear what we get. I've just got a slight bit of delay with the Strymon El Capistan here. And again, going through the Marshall. So let's see what we get. With this bridge pickup, got a lot of quack, which is nice. So with that line, I was blending a bit of a rhythmic feel, right, with some lead lines in it. It still can carry through as a nice rhythmic punch, right, with this bridge pickup with the Burstbucker Pro. When I'm playing with the bridge position, a lot of times I kick it on when I'm playing lead, and I'm gonna want something that cuts. That's always, always important because you wanna stand through. You want something that's glossy. You want something that's gonna quack. And this pickup totally covers that. All right, so I'm still in the bridge position with the Burstbucker Pros. I'm gonna put on that overdrive and we're gonna see where this goes. For me, when I'm playing with my band, I kick on the bridge when I want to play a lead most times, something that is going to, again, cut through. You've got a big band playing behind you. You have a story to tell when you're soloing. So you want to make sure you are heard and that enunciation is going to happen. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and introduce the coil tap. I'm going to do one version clean and then one version with a little bit of dirt. And what I'm also gonna do here is I'm gonna bring the tone down to about 6.5. So we could hear the variation with the tone knobs included as well. So let's see what we get. Now what I'll do next, I'm gonna press this down and let's compare and contrast with clean, dirty. This guitar gives me vibes of a 60s Les Paul. Reason being, first and foremost, when I play it, that slim neck, it is so intuitive. It's really, really comfortable. It's the first thing I noticed when I picked this thing up today. It's really comfortable. It allows me to play really great chunky chords and feel comfortable, but also just as easily comfortable when I'm up here between the potency of the Burstbucker Pro and the ability to coil tap. Plus, you can go ahead and pick and choose with your tone knobs and really set it in a beautiful way. There's endless possibilities. So what I have here, I have both of the Burstbucker Pros engaged. We are in the middle position. For this demo here, I'm going through the Marshall with just a touch of the Strymon El Capistan for delay. Gonna keep it a little bit on the cleaner side. Sometimes we forget what a very delicate guitar this can be too. So by engaging both pickups, I wanted to see, like, can we get very beautiful, luscious, clean tone with just a touch of delay and through a Marshall. And we see that we can do this with this guitar with these Burstbucker Pros. So not only can this really rock and dig with lead lines and very big rhythmic chords, but we can also get a very luscious, very clean, beautiful sound out of this guitar too. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna engage both of the Burstbucker Pros and the Les Paul with a little bit of dirt. I'm gonna turn down the distortion just a little bit here. So here we go. So with this, we hear that it's slightly different. With that overdrive, right? We get a little bit of that bite towards the end. The chords still ring through really beautifully, but we get just that little bit of fuzz, right? That little bit of bite at the end. Still delicate, but in kind of a cool way. So studios, I think sometimes they can get a bad rap. They're like, oh, they're just the plain Jane guitars. Not this one. This one has a beautiful figured top. We see this here. And obviously, when we see a beautiful guitar on the wall or in a studio, it makes us want to pick it up and see what it can do. And this guitar, again, with a beautiful top, it's inspiring just to look at. As far as the other features that makes the studio really great is this binding that we see on the neck of the guitar. So again, really pops out. It's nice, something that we'd expect maybe from a higher level Les Paul, but we have it here in this studio model, which is very, very cool. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna gauge the coil tap on both of these pickups. Both coil taps are engaged. Let's see what we get. So lots of jangle and quack with that configuration with the coil tapping of the Burstbucker Pros. If I was playing live in a setting, after hearing what those two pickups sound like together with that coil tap, I would certainly use that in a rhythmic setting and kind of like a funk sort of configuration. I love the attack. I love how it's rounded enough. It's not too jarring. It sits in a mix really well, and it cuts through really nicely. I know that I would be comfortable doing a lead line with that configuration, as well as some sort of like high or up the neck rhythmic spots. Again, the jangliness of that is really, really inspiring and very cool. So I'm gonna keep things on the clean side, going through the Strymon El Capistan delay and the Marshall here. Let's do a little bit of experiment. I'm gonna turn one of these off. And let's see how this sounds. Same line that I did. So we really heard the presence of that rhythm pickup really come through and work really wonderfully in unison with that coil tap. It had a beautiful roundedness, but it had a very nice attack just with that slight output bump in the bridge position. All right, so now we're gonna flip-flop. Gonna bring this guy down and pull this one up. And let's see what we get. So we get a lot of high end and a lot of jangliness with that configuration of the pickups. To me, this is very inspiring to play, say, like a cool funk rhythm line or even a cool Motown type style of, high chordal rhythm playing. It's got a lot of sparkle too, which I really, really like. I find that very inspiring with that configuration of pickups. One of my favorite features of this guitar is the neck. The slim profile makes this guitar incredibly intuitive to play. I know studio Les Pauls are sometimes known for the guitars that don't have a ton of bells and whistles, but man, just these few little upgrades, right? The binding on the neck, the beautiful figured top on this guitar. I know for me, I tour out and I play quite a bit. And sometimes, you don't want to bring a super, super incredibly expensive guitar that you're afraid might get hurt on the road. A guitar like this, its playability and its intuitiveness. I mean, for my first impression, I'm really, really impressed with. It sounds great. And the versatility with the coil tapping. And again, the usage of its tone knobs. Also too, it's not terribly heavy, which is really nice. It feels really well balanced. It doesn't have that neck diviness, but again, it has that grit and that power and that sustain that you would expect from maybe a higher level Les Paul. It has many, many voices, and it's certainly a tool of inspiration for sure. If you want to learn more about the Gibson Les Paul Studio Figured Guitar, go to guitarcenter.com, contact one of their expert gear advisors, or check it out at your local GC.